So we're looking at factors, multiples and primes. Now why learn about these? Well, factors, multiples and primes are actually used in making and breaking secret codes. So this is really important maths for people who are in a secret service. World War II, how they broke the Enigma, it was using factors, multiples and primes. If you're using internet security, they're used all over the place. So what are they? Well, factors are just pairs of numbers that go into another number. So two numbers that multiply together give us another number. So if we look at the factors of 12, well we know obviously 1 and the number itself are always going to be factors. So 1 and 12 are of course factors in 12. 2 and 6 and 3 and 4. Now those are all the numbers that multiply together gives us 12, so those are all of the factors. We can also tell that because of course there's no number, whole number anyway, between 3 and 4, so therefore we must have finished. Looking at a different one, if we look at 20, well the factors of 20 again of course 1 and 20. It's even, so 2 and 10. 3 doesn't go into 20 but 4 does, 4 and 5. Now you also might hear in maths quite a lot the highest common factor. So if I was looking for the highest common factor of 12 and 20, it's the largest number that appears in both the factors of 12, which are these numbers, and the factors of 20, which are these numbers. Now if we look, 1 is in both of them, 2 is in both of them, 3 isn't, 4 is, 5 isn't, 6 isn't, 10 isn't, 12 isn't, and 20 isn't. So the largest number that goes into both of those is 4, and therefore the highest common factor of 12 and 20 is 4. If we look at another example, this time we'll look first of all at 15. And the highest common factor, the factors of 15 are 1 and 15, 2 doesn't go into it, 3 and 5, and 4 doesn't go into it, so those are all of my factors. And if we look at 45, so the factors of 45 being 1 and 45, 3 and 15, and 5 and 9. Now those are all the factors of 15 and all the factors of 45. So if we look for the highest common factor, again we look for the numbers that appear in both. So 1 is in both, 3 is in both, 5 is in both, 9 isn't, and 15 is, and of course 45 isn't. Now that means the highest common factor of 15 and 45 is of course 15. Okay, now we've looked at factors, we're going to take a minute to look at multiples. So what are multiples? Well, as the name would suggest, multiples are numbers that are in the times table of a number. So if I wanted the multiples of the first 5 multiples of 3, well, they would be 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15. If I wanted the first 5 multiples of 9, well those would be 9, 18, 27, 36 and 45. Now another thing which we might hear quite often is the lowest common multiple. Now that's the lowest multiple that goes into both the times tables of 2 or more numbers. So the lowest common multiple of 3 and 9, well let's have a look. 3 isn't in the 9 times table, 6 isn't, but 9 is. Therefore the lowest common multiple of 3 and 9 is 9. Looking at another example, let's look at the multiples of 15. Well, the multiples of 15, the first 5 are 15, 30, 45, 60 and 75. And if we look at the first, let's have a look at the first 5 multiples of 10. Well, those are 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So what's the lowest common multiple? Well, again, let's look. Is 10 in the 15 times table? No. Is 20? No. Is 30? Yes, it is. 30 is in both. Therefore, the lowest common multiple of 15 and 10 is 30. And finally, we'll look at primes. So what are primes? Well, primes are very special numbers, and they're special in the fact that they only have two factors, 1 and themselves. And it's important we remember that definition, because it'll tell us something important shortly. So remember, the definition of a prime number is that it only has two factors, 1 and itself. So what are prime numbers? Well, 2 is a prime number, because of course the only factors of 2 are 1 and 2. 3 is a prime number because the only factors are 1 and 3. 4 isn't a prime number, and that's because 1 and 4 and 2 go into it. 5 is a prime number, and that's because it's only 1 and 5. The next prime number then would be 7, and after that would be 11. So those are our first 5 prime numbers. Now you might be thinking, why haven't I included 1? And that's because the only factor of 1 is 1. And remember, all prime numbers have two factors, 1 and themselves. So unfortunately, 1 does not count as a prime number.